Hey, you guys. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a great Monday night. Let me know if you guys got the notifications or if you came from like a link that I've shared. I'm trying to see if notifications are going out tonight. Tell you, everything updates and it throws me into a tizzy because I don't know how to do things when they update, especially if they bring like a lot of changes. And it seems like when YouTube updates or like YouTube software that I use, I don't know what I'm doing. So, you guys, I saw some information earlier, and I was like, "What?" I've heard of this kind of happening before. Maybe not in the exact same way, but I've heard of this notification. I just got lucky to catch it. So glad you got lucky. I'm so sorry, Gemma. I'm so sorry to hear that. So we're gonna go ahead and hop into it. Yay! Candy got the notification. All right, we're gonna go ahead and hop into this, you guys, because I thought, well, I mean, it's kind of interesting, and I don't know what. I mean, obviously everything's legal. If she can represent him, they would know that. I'm going to read this article that I came across, you guys, because it seems that Bryan Kohberger's public defender, Ann Taylor, has also represented some of the victims' families in the past. And that just screams conflict of interest, right? I mean, to me, it does. I'm like, over here, like, is that possible? Can she still represent him? Being that she had a working relationship with like one of the victim's parents, like, I don't know. Let me read you guys what this is. Okay, this is from the Idaho Statesmen. It says Kohberger attorney represented parents of Moscow homicide victim before taking his case. I also learned how to pronounce this correctly. When I see Moscow, I automatically think Moscow because Moscow, And I've seen some people saying something about how we need to learn how to pronounce it. And I'm like, well, clearly I'm mispronouncing it, but I don't know how to pronounce it. So I figured it out. So Bryan Kohberger's attorney, represented a parent of the Moscow homicide victim before taking his case. I don't know anything about the Murdaugh trial, but I feel like I need to get into it. Are they televising his trial? Are they televising the trial? Hey, Southern Charmer. Okay, so it says here, up until taking his case, Bryan Kohberger's court-appointed public defender was actively representing a parent of one of the four Moscow stabbing victims her client is accused of killing, according to court records. Ann Taylor, who is the chief of the Kootenai County Public Defender's Office, filed an attorney withdrawal notice in the county court for the parent on January 5th. That's the same day that Bryan Kohberger made his first appearance in Idaho, his first court appearance in Idaho in Latah County. So the parent previously was sentenced on unrelated misdemeanor charges. So obviously, I know like Kaylee's parents, they have attorneys representing them. So at first, when I first read this, I was like, wait, was she representing like one of the families concerning this? And then I realized no, it was unrelated charges that she was representing a family, one of the victim's family, like mom, dad. So in that case, as well as another where the parents faced two felony charges, the public defender's office withdrew in favor of a local criminal defense attorney unrelated to Taylor or in the county's public defender's office. The new attorney is listed as the conflict public defender in court documents. The Idaho Statesman is not naming the parent in connection with Ann Taylor. The only reason these criminal charges are being reported is to establish a connection between Ann Taylor and the family of the homicide victims. Legal experts said the new detail in the high-profile case raises conflict of interest questions. when presented with the information by the Idaho Statesmen. That's what I was thinking. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was thinking. Like, surely this is like conflict of interest here. Okay, there is a. Did y'all get that? Okay. Um. Okay. It says here, anytime a former client is involved in a current representation, a lawyer should evaluate any potential conflicts. Brad Andrews, a former counsel for the Idaho State Bar, told the Statesman by phone. Conflicts are very factually based, and so the lawyer decides whether the lawyer has a conflict. No, so yes, Ann Taylor dropped their client when I guess she was approached about this. Like when it was like Bryan Kohberger needs a public defender, it was like, okay, well, I represent this parent at the time, so I have to drop that parent. So she removed herself as the attorney for the parent, citing conflict of interest. But my thing is like, should she even be able to go represent him? I don't know. I'm going to tell you guys a story after we get through reading this. So the four stabbing victims are U of I seniors Madison, Kaylee, junior Xana, and freshman Ethan. The off campus rental house where they died is located about 9 miles east of Washington State University in Pullman, where Kohberger was a PhD student. Bryan Kohberger, who's 28 years old, was arrested in eastern Pennsylvania at his parents' house on December 30th. He was extradited back to Idaho and charged with 4 counts of first degree murder, as well as 1 count of felony burglary. Taylor is one of just 13 public defenders in Idaho that's approved by the state's Defense Commission to lead a capital punishment case. So I don't know if you guys remember when we were talking about how Bryan Kohberger is going to have a lot of attorneys, and in attorney fees, they're like projecting that this will cost like $2 million in attorney fees, like minimum. And he would have to have an attorney that like a capital punishment attorney in case they seek the death penalty. So she is just one out of 13 public defenders in Idaho that is a let me say that again. She is one of just 13 public defenders in Idaho that's approved by the State Public Defense Commission to lead a capital punishment case. She's also the only one in all of North Idaho. Prosecutors have yet to indicate whether or not they will seek the death penalty in Bryan Kohberger's case. A part of me is like, yes, 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 they should. Hello, they should. But when you when death penalty is on the table, one thing that I've realized, and I feel like I realized this, you guys can tell me if you agree, but I feel like when the death penalty, holy crap, I can't talk. When the death penalty is on the case, I feel like you have a smaller chance of getting like a conviction because the jury is sitting there saying, like, I don't want to play God. Like, if death penalty wasn't on the table, I would convict him. But I don't want to be the reason that this person dies. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not on me. So I don't know. Part of me is like, yes, death penalty, of course. Just like the couple that were just arrested back in 2020, August of 2020. They were a married couple in Atlanta, and they adopted 2 little boys. When they adopted them, the boys were ages 5 and 7, and they come to find out they were sexually abusing these little boys. Not only were they sexually abusing them, but they were pimping them out to other men, and they were also like recording themselves sexually abusing these little boys. So my thing was like death penalty here. Can we go back to like the what was it where they like line you up and shoot you? What is that called? But when you have a case like this, I feel like you're less likely to get a conviction. Um, because a lot of people don't want to be the one to sentence someone to death. So, anyways, since 2000, the county public defender's office has represented the homicide victims' parents off and on in several cases, according to court records. Yes, be a firing squad. Firing squad, yes. Since Taylor took over, her office has defended the parent in 4 cases, including a misdemeanor from August 2017, for which Ann Taylor took over as the attorney of record in September 2022. So the misdemeanor happened in 2017, which she did not represent the parent when it immediately happened. She took over as the attorney in September 2022. So Taylor's office also has represented another parent of a Moscow homicide victim in 4 criminal cases since she's become chief public defender. So it looks like she's represented 2 parents of a Moscow, like Inco, Moscow homicide. Yeah, okay. So it seems like she's represented 2 parents at some point in time. In the 2 cases, online court records named Taylor as an inactive attorney now. That's what I'm thinking. All apologies. Like, I don't want to speculate, but I'm thinking it's probably her, just because what we know, you know. Ann Taylor has led Kootenai County's Public Defender's Office since June 2017. She previously worked in the same office from 2004 to 2012, then shifted to a private practice before returning back to Kootenai. Am I saying that right, Kootenai? Taylor is a Idaho native and earned her law degree from the University of Idaho in 1998. The Kootenai County-based newspaper reported. So, legal expert, potential conflict, not easy to answer. So, the Idaho State Bar provides direction to attorneys in its rules of professional conduct about conflicts of interest. Yes, you guys, Nat B, who's been my member for 29 months. What? Nat has been my member for like over 2 years. Holy crap, Nat. Nat, my member for over 2 years, says make sure you hit the like button, everyone. Yes, listen to Nat. I've been on YouTube for like almost 4 years, and she's been with me for a long time. So listen to your girl, Nat. Okay, so it says here, loyalty and independent judgment are essential elements in the lawyer's relationship to a client. Its rule on conflicts and current clients reads, concurrent conflicts of interest can arise from the lawyer's responsibilities to another client, a former client, or a third person, or from the lawyer's own interest. So Bob Borut, I can't say his whole name, so we'll just call him Bob Borut, is a longtime attorney and director of the Defender Initiative at Seattle's University Law School, which aims to improve public defense representation. In an interview with the Statesman, he declined to state whether Ann's situation constitutes a conflict of interest. Why would he not answer that? Instead, he said that lawyers should be guided by their state's codes and even consult with others in the practice when possible conflicts arise. So this man who literally teaches at Seattle's University of Law, and his job there is to improve public defense representation, he wouldn't even answer it. He declined to say whether or not he felt like this was a conflict of interest. And I see you guys talking about the lawyer that works with the coroner. I'm not sure who you guys are talking about. Yes, Ann Taylor is death penalty certified. There's 13 in the state of Idaho. I think that's what they said. Is that what I just said, you guys? Going back really quickly to someone in the chat was asking about this, so we'll go back just a quick moment. I feel like I just said this, but now I can't. Okay. Ann Taylor is one of 13 public defenders in Idaho approved by the state's Public Defense Commission to lead a capital punishment case. So there's 13 in the state of Idaho, but there's only one in North Idaho. So if they were going to get somebody else, they would have to get them from down south or east or west. All right, so Bob Baruch, who is a longtime attorney and director of the Defender Initiative at Seattle's University Law School, he declined to say whether or not he felt that it was conflict of interest. But he did say that lawyers should be guided by their state codes and even consult with others in the practice when possible conflicts arise. He says each lawyer needs to assess the possibility of a conflict with the ethical rule in front of her and talk with clients. Baruch said by phone, a lot of these questions are not easy to answer, and it benefits having multiple people look at them and sorting through the potential issues. Public defenders in Idaho also operate under slightly more relaxed conflict rules because of the nature of the work to ensure needy defendants receive adequate legal representation per case law established in Idaho versus Severson. It said needy defendants. Aren't they all? I mean, isn't everyone that needs a public defender pretty needy? You know what I'm saying? I think it was crazy that they said to ensure that needy defendants, like they're all needy. Anyways, I wish I knew how to take a poll here because I would like to take a poll. Okay, so Andrews, who is a retired Idaho State Bar Counsel, he said, when I discuss potential conflicts with lawyers, part of my advice was the lawyers should assure they are able to exercise their independent professional judgment. Bryan Kohberger could receive the death penalty if convicted. Idaho is one of 24 U.S. states that actively maintains capital punishment. Prosecutors have 60 days from the time Kohberger enters a plea to file a notice with the court whether or not they'll seek the death penalty. I'm trying to figure out about how long that'll be. Because he hasn't entered a plea yet. Does anybody know Kohberger's next court date? Yeah, I'm really into the watermelon right now. Okay, so beyond possible conflicts on their face, Baruch pointed to the typical practice of defense attorneys seeking to speak with victims' families in the course of a possible sentencing period to obtain their buy-in for a life sentence and bypass the death penalty. So now he's basically saying, like, I mean, where comes the conflict is defense attorneys, speaking with the victims' families. I guess in an effort to not get them to not put the death penalty on the table and instead do like a life sentence. Does that happen though? I don't know if that happens. Does the attorney for the defense speak with victims' families and say, hey, can you guys not try to go death penalty here on my client? Can you guys just life in prison? I mean, honestly, I'm like Kaylee's dad. Like, she doesn't get to breathe. She doesn't get to, like Bryan will be able to see his parents. His parents will be able to go visit him. He will get to celebrate holidays. He will get to write to his family. They will know that he's alive. June 26th. Thank you. I don't think I had that right down. So I'm sorry. If you take the life from someone, I don't know. I mean, then you deserve to die, in my opinion. That's just my thoughts. Okay, so apparently that could obviously cause a conflict of interest, like if she represented, say, Xana's mom, and then she's got to go speak to Xana's mom to say, hey, former client, could you not, like, I don't want y'all to go for the death penalty here. I mean, they have a relationship already. Baruch says certainly effective representation in a capital case if it's going to get the penalty phase. There's got to be an effort to talk to the family. Okay, so I guess that does happen. You talk to the family. Stephen Gillers, who is a legal ethics professor at NYU's law school, told the Statesman there's a practical solution to such a scenario, which he stated is unusual because it happens infrequently. Okay, so this is not a usual situation. Giller said there's a concept called shadow counsel. When a lawyer has a conflict that's relatively minor that a lawyer may wish not to handle or may not be allowed to handle, the lawyer can ask someone else to do that part of their case. Okay, so I guess what they're saying is, in terms of if they have to speak to the family about the death penalty situation, she could send another lawyer on her behalf to talk to the family, I guess. It is unclear whether Bryan Kohberger is aware of his attorney's prior connection to the parents of two of the four students he is accused of killing. Previous statement requests for an in person interview with Kohberger through Taylor in the Latah County Sheriff's Office, which manages the county jail where he is being held, did not receive responses. So, this outlet, the Idaho Statesmen, is trying to get an interview with Bryan. He's not going to do an interview. I mean, everything he says can and will be used against him. Why would he do an interview? That would be dumb, in my opinion. The Statesman attempted to contact the two parents involved. One did not comment, and the other could not be reached. A gag order issued by the Second District Court Judge Megan Marshall on January 3rd, which she expanded last week, restricts Ann Taylor from commenting about Kohberger's case outside the court filing. Right? There's a gag order too, so he can't. Yeah. Taylor and her office did not respond Monday to an email or phone messages from the statesman seeking comments about their prior representation of the two parents. Also Monday, a Latah County clerk offered no comment to the Statesman about whether Marshall was aware of Taylor's prior representation before appointing the public defender in the Bryan Kohberger case. Aside from Ann Taylor, a dozen public defenders in Idaho are qualified to lead a capital case, but each of them reside well outside North Idaho. Another 10 public defenders are qualified to act as co-counsel on a capital murder case, including 2 in North Idaho. One is Taylor's Chief Deputy of Litigation, Jay Logsdon, who is her co-counsel in the Kohberger case. The other attorney is Susie Jensen, the former Bonner County Chief Public Defender. Governor Brad Little appointed Jensen as a judge in the Idaho's 1st District in November. Latah County Public Defender Deb McCormick previously represented Moscow gunman John Lee, who pled guilty in 2016 to 3 counts of murder in exchange for life in prison to avoid the death penalty. But McCormick is not currently approved to lead or co-counsel a capital case, according to the list of eligible Idaho public defenders updated in December. Bryan Kohberger and Ann Taylor are scheduled to be back in Latah County Court for his preliminary hearing starting at 9 a.m. Pacific on June 26th. And here is, what is that? What is that? All right. I think if everyone is questioning that this much, then obviously it's something that attorneys kind of side eye. Like, you know what I'm saying? They're saying, well, you use your best judgment. You look at all the factors. You speak to your friends that are attorneys. You tell them the situation and get their opinion. I feel like if you got to do all that, I don't know, like, then maybe it's a conflict of interest. That's just, I don't know. That's my thoughts. I'm no lawyer. I'm not even close to one. I took law studies when I was like a junior or something. I don't remember, in high school, and I don't remember anything I learned there. You know what I'm saying? So, but just even the sound of it, like the fact that she represented 2 of the victims' family members at some point in time, I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so electronically filed. This is, okay, the notice of assignment change. So, assigned attorney, A.C. Taylor, public defender, bar number 5836. Not that it matters. State of Idaho versus that is redacted. Notice is hereby given that A.C. Taylor, public defender, is assuming responsibilities in the above entitled matter, and all inquiries regarding this action should be directed to the undersigned attorney. So, dated this 30th day of September 2022. So, I think this is when she got the case. It was a misdemeanor charge from like 2017, I think they said, that she took on in September 2022. So there's where she got it. Certificate of delivery, blah, blah, blah. Substitution of counsel. State of Idaho versus blank. Substitution of counsels. Okay. So notice is hereby given that blank's attorney of record is hereby changed. The withdrawing attorney is A.C. Taylor, public defender, and the new attorney and substitution of record, Christopher D. Schwartz, conflict public defender, whose address is blah, 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 blah. And that was on January 5th, which is the same day that Bryan Kohberger was seen in court for the first time in Idaho. So literally, like, she's on her way into court that morning. She's like, oh, I got to, remove myself as this person's attorney before I run in court really quickly. That was, didn't he have court at like 9 o'clock that morning? Wasn't it like super early? So she did that really quickly. I don't know. Okay. Opinions. Do you guys believe that this is a conflict of interest for her to have previously represented two of the parents of two of the victims? There's 4 victims, 2 of the victims she has represented. And now she's going to be representing Bryan Kohberger. See, Southern Charmer, that's me. Like, I believe God will handle him. So a part of me is like, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's me. But then a part of me is like thinking about those little boys that were molested. The kids, the college kids that were just slaughtered. My daughter's about to go off to college, and I just can't fathom sending her off and getting a call that something like that has happened. That part of me, like the mother in me, I guess, is like firing squad, line him up, But then Christian part of me is like, it's not my duty, It could have an impact later. If he is found not guilty, they will ask for mistrial. Depending on how much she dealt with him, say yes. If it was stuff that was thrown out very quickly, then no. Absolutely no. This case is too sensitive to take any chances. See, I feel that way too. It's too, this case is, yeah. It has to be, yeah. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking, Lizzie. All 4 parents want death for BK. So let me tell you guys a little story about someone that I know, okay? But Ann Taylor was the one that had went to the court and got the cleaning of the house stopped the day that BK was arrested in PA, which was good. But Ellie cleaning the house the same day is sus to me. Also, there is photos of her doing that. Let's look at this really quickly. Not cleaning the house, but where they went back. Apparently, they like tried to recreate the scene, from my understanding. Apparently, like, yeah, they went back and tried to like recreate the scene. They were seen there with cameras, and I'm like, how do you recreate the scene? Did he tell you what happened? All right, let's see. I'm trying to make sure we can get all these pictures in here. All right, so there is Ann Taylor coming out of the house wearing the green sweater like I had on yesterday. Below that, so that's Ann Taylor on the far left. And then there she is right next to that in the green. Oh my gosh, like my nose is, I hate when that happens. All right, down below in the green sweater again with some men standing out in front of the house. Wow, why is Ann Taylor's bank card on there? That's super sus. Surely that's fake. All right, so here she is in front of the house. There she is outside the house. The cleaning crew didn't get to even get their equipment out, so that was good. If they did, oh my God, that would have been a field day for the defense. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like, of course, you got to allow the defense to come in before you clean everything up, right? I completely get that death penalty. What? Southern Charmer, I was about to call you death penalty. What? I absolutely get that. Yeah, can't call myself pro-life and yet support the death penalty. I get that. Yeah. Self-defense, Southern Charmer, he shouldn't have got anything. I mean, more than likely, you know, it might be one of these situations where jailhouse justice, like Jeffrey Dahmer. There was somebody that learned what Jeffrey Dahmer was in there for, and he took it upon himself to. I mean, but it's vengeance is the Lord, so I got to remember that because there's this part of me that just, obviously, that thinks, "Holy crap!" I don't know why Anne Heche is there. And there is Bryan Kohberger smiling at Ann Taylor. There they are outside the home, and that lady is holding a camera. Well, yeah, I'm not gonna go into the back and forth with I could see Southern Charmer's point. I can also see your point because I think I kind of lean towards like because I'm like an innocent a baby that didn't ask to be brought into the world versus an adult that knew better that took a life. Still, I feel like gotta leave it up to God. I mean, I'm not gonna literally. There's cases since to be. Let me say this: before I started covering true crime, I was like, no, death penalty is not for me to decide because God will handle that. Obviously, I'm a Christian. Anybody that watches my channel knows that. So I've always been like, God will handle that. Covering these stories, every time I hear something so terrible, I'm just like, they deserve death. So, you know, hopefully she does the right thing and doesn't get the whole case thrown out. That's the way that I feel. Hopefully she does the right thing because, I mean, the effects that it could have on the case. And I think this information just came out from my understanding. I mean, I just saw it for the first time today, and I'm like, what's my opinion of Kim? Who's Kim? Blue Peach, you make a good point too. Too many people on death row have been proven innocent for me to fully support the death penalty. I don't know how many people on death row have been found innocent. I know there's some, but I think in general, people that have been locked up for heinous crimes and then come to find out DNA proved that they were innocent. I don't know what the statistics are, but I know that there's just in general, there's a lot of innocent people that have gotten locked up. Perfect example on feelings of death penalty is Quentin Simon. Quentin Simon, the case that I was talking about earlier, where the couple in Atlanta adopted a 5 and a 7-year-old basically to sexually abuse them allegedly. 5 and 7 years old was sodomizing them, raping them, pimping them out to males in this pedophile ring, literally sending messages to these males saying, I'm going to F my son tonight, stand by for a video. I mean, it was just sick individuals that adopted these little boys, in my opinion, for their own personal use. And these little boys will never get their innocence back. They are traumatized, so traumatized. And when I heard that story, I was like, oh, death penalty. Oh, yeah. American Princess. Elle Bee. American Princess in the chat says, Kim is the mom to a student at WSU and went on another channel talking about what she claimed her daughter told her what happened before the LE was called at 1122 King House. I've heard about that, but I don't know much about it. I have heard, um, but I don't know much about it. There are plenty of offenders who probably deserve the death penalty, but I do fear a mistake. I can, yeah. I can tell you when I was arrested back in 2019, I looked so guilty based off my charges, because I had improper lane usage, flight from an officer. So it looked like I was swerving. Then it looked like I ran. And then I had scheduled two drugs. So it looked like I had, they said I had cocaine on me, So wouldn't that make sense? Like, oh, a cop is behind her. She's swerving. He turns his lights on and she takes off running from him. And the reason she ran was because she had cocaine on her. Well, none of that was what happened. I don't believe, well, I know I wasn't swerving, first off. They said I went over the line at some point, but I don't even think I did that. I was arrested back in 2019, and everything about my arrest looked guilty. Like, I looked guilty. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Due to the charges, I saw people online trying to like take up for me, and they still couldn't say that. They were just like, I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Like, there's got to be something that we're missing here, and it was, there was a lot missing, and that was that um, I did not run. I stopped, and I just didn't stop immediately. But they definitely exaggerated how long they were behind me. They said they were behind me for like 4.5 miles, 5 miles. I was only 3.5 miles from my home. So, and half of that was back roads. And then it was not cocaine. It was a bag that it once had chalk in it because I have 6 children, and so everything on the outside looked like I was guilty. So when that happened for me, it really gave me a new perspective on, true crime and cases like this. I always try to say, we're innocent until proven guilty. And I do think we should go back to that. You're innocent until proven guilty. We can all, I think we should all say, like, if this is the person that done it, then XYZ. You know what I'm saying? Um, I mean, oftentimes you cannot ignore, like, if it's like fact after fact after fact, or the person is just not acting innocent. Like the Quentin Simon case. Quentin Simon's mom, I mean, lied from jump, So, I mean, sometimes you take the facts that and obviously you can come to some sort of conclusion that you feel solid with, but people didn't really know my story. They just knew that I was arrested and what the charges were. And I wasn't able to talk because, I knew I was going to fight it. And it was dismissed. I fought it. I sued. And I got a settlement. So the cops couldn't tell chalk from cocaine. No, they could not. It was an empty bag that just had the residue from chalk. And it had like probably, I don't know, like the slender chalk sticks, in it once upon a time. And I mean, it was left in my car. And what's so crazy is they even tested it with a Searchy roadside test kit. They're $2 a kit, and they're often wrong. And they tested it, and it was not positive, though. Neither. It was not positive. It was actually a negative. But they misread it because it was not showing what they wanted it to show. So they're like, okay, it's a positive. In the audio, you could hear them saying, I've never seen it do that before. I'm like, what? Looking back, I'm like, so you've never seen a negative? Is that what it is? I mean, I know there's a lot of drug addicts in where I live, but have you never given one and it was a negative? I mean, just the whole thing was a mess, and I got just hammered on social media because another YouTuber was for some reason following my local police department. And mind you, I live in Louisiana. She lives in Michigan, and I'm from a tiny town. I don't even know her police department, but she was following my local police department, and somehow she knew like that when I was arrested. So she put it out all over the place because she didn't like me. So of course, people were just running with it. People were doing live streams about it, and I couldn't comment on it. I actually did make a community post and I made a Facebook post, and then I was advised to take them down. So, but yeah, so sometimes things can look so guilty, and I try to remember that. But I mean, I'm waiting to hear all the facts with Bryan Kohberger's case. I will have to say, I thought that there would be more. Where did I say she lives? Did I say she lives in Michigan? I don't ever remember where she lives. But I would have thought that they would have got more from his apartment, or like, do we know if anything was found in the car? I mean, I don't know, like a pillow that may have, reddish brown, so they suspect blood. But I just thought that there would be more. Did you already discuss the lawyer? Was there a waiver to the conflict of interest? Not that I've read, which um they would have to sign one. So, from my understanding, the parents that she represented, if they signed a waiver, then she can continue representing Bryan, pull out as their attorney, which she's already done. And I think all would be well, because, like I said, I know somebody that was in a similar situation, kind of like this, and I'll explain it to you guys in just a minute. But from what I was reading, I don't see anywhere where they've had the parents sign a waiver. Um, I wish we had an attorney that we can ask, because I think if they do, then she's in the clear. I heard that we should know. I heard that we should know what they found in his car soon. Being that there's a gag order, are we going to hear that? Because there's a gag order on this, and there's also a gag order on the Athena Brownfield case. On Athena Brownfield, a body was found, a child's body, and we still haven't found out whether or not it was Athena Brownfield's body. But I'm thinking, because there's a gag order, they're not going to tell us. So I'm wondering how much information they can tell us with a gag order. Like, will they be able to tell us what was found in the car? Nikki Lynn says, I've been in law for 5 years. I'm getting my law degree. I love that. Um, Thank you, Anne. It does not make it go away, because I mean, I still, when I was arrested and I said I'm innocent, even after it was dismissed, even after I won the settlement, even after I posted a hair follicle drug test on my own accord. I did not have to go do it. I just did it to prove that I don't do drugs. They still said that I was released from jail because COVID, because this was back in 2019, that I was released due to COVID, and that they dismissed my case due to COVID. And I'm like, I don't know anybody's cases that they dismissed due to COVID. But there was people that just didn't want to accept that I don't do drugs. Um, Nikki Lynn says they can sign a waiver of conflict of interest. So, okay, can they sign a waiver agreeing that, or saying they are okay with her representing Bryan Kohberger? Here, this is why I'm asking. So I know a girl. Okay, I know a girl that was going to sue, and when she first started meeting with attorneys to sue, she was introduced to this one attorney. We'll call him Brad. She was introduced to Brad, and she told Brad her story of what happened to her, how she was wrongfully fired, yeah, from her job. And he said, "Yes, I will take your case, and we will sue that company, and we're going to win." And he says, any correspondence between you and your boss or anybody in management, email them to me. I need any discussions that you ever had with your boss. Do you feel like was your boss a guy? Yes. Do you think your boss had the hots for you? Did you ever turn your boss down? You're an attractive girl. Like, do you think maybe he was attracted to you, and like maybe you told him that you weren't attracted to him. So, no, that never happened. Is he a guy? He is a guy. What do you think? Maybe he thought you were cute? Maybe. All right. Well, it seems like maybe he was obsessed with you. And because you wouldn't sleep with him, he fired you. I don't think so. Well, send me all correspondence between you and your old boss, and we're gonna get started on this. Okay, thank you. Months pass. You're sending him all your emails. You're not getting any response, so you contact the attorney again. Hey, I'm sending you these emails. Are you getting them? Oh, yep. Sorry, I've been busy. I'm getting them. I'm bringing in another attorney, that is a civil rights attorney, and I think she's going to be a good part of the team. Okay, great. So when can you go with me to meet her? Whenever. Okay. So a month or two later, you go to meet this female civil rights attorney named Mary. Had a little lamb. Anyways, so Brad, you and Mary all go to a meeting, and Brad says, Mary, this is so and so. She was wrongfully arrested from her job back in such and such, and she wants to sue them. Tell Mary your story. So you tell Mary your story. Mary says, you got a good case. I definitely think, you should sue them. We should get started on this ASAP. All right, so we're going to get started on this. Okay, is it agreed that we're going to get started on this? Yes, we're going to get started on this. Okay. That's the deal. So the friend of mine, who we're going to call her Dana, she leaves and goes home. She is still sending everything. She had to obviously prove loss of income. So she had to send how much money she was making versus the money she wasn't making. She's sending all this stuff to both attorneys, right? And then probably about 6 months down the line, she gets a call from her female attorney named Mary. Mary says, hey, Dana, this is Mary. I need you to come to my office whenever you can because I need you to sign a, what's it called? A form because Brad was picked up by your old job. They actually hired Brad to represent them in this lawsuit. And we need you to sign a letter saying that you're okay with him representing your old boss that fired you, that you're suing. And so Dana's like, hold up. This doesn't make a lot of sense because Brad was the person that I first went to. Brad was supposed to be representing me. How can this happen? Brad knows the whole story. Like, I've told Brad everything. Is this going to bite me in the butt? And Mary tells Dana, don't worry, Dana. I've worked with Brad for the past 15 years. I'm trying to tell a story using names. I've worked with Brad for 15 years, and Brad is a lawyer you can trust. And look at it this way. Yes, it is a conflict of interest, but Brad is not going to screw you over. If anything, Brad will make sure that you have a fair shot. Brad knows your story. Brad knows how this affected you. Brad knows that you were screwed over. Now Brad's representing the other side, but Brad is going to work with us. So I look at this like a good thing that Brad is now being picked up as the attorney for your ex-boss that you're suing for wrongful termination. So I think you should sign off on these documents. And Dana's like, I just feel really uncomfortable about this because I don't know how Brad was picked up as their attorney if Brad was already representing me. We've already started this lawsuit as he my attorney, like you and him. So how did this happen? Well, the owner of that company has used Brad in the past. Brad has been the attorney for that guy in the past. So when the guy got, served with this lawsuit, he immediately went back to Brad because that's who he's used in the past. And Dana says, Well, Brad never told me. Like when I went to Brad and told Brad I'm suing my old boss, it's this person. Brad never said, well, I've represented that person before, so I don't think I can represent you. Wouldn't that be like, shouldn't he have said that then? Well, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to tell you if who he's represented in the past. He could have, but he didn't have to. It's not like he broke any. He didn't violate any ethics or anything like that. To not tell you that he's represented the person that you were suing. So what happened was this Dana girl that was wrongfully terminated by um, the airline. And this is all hypothetical. I mean, I know the situation that happened. I know it personally, the person that happened to. Airline. It was the airline, right? The airline fired Dana, wrongfully fired Dana. Dana was first introduced to Brad. Brad said he would take the case. Dana sent Brad all kind of information about the case, talked to Brad on several occasions. Then Brad introduced Dana to Mary to bring Mary on as another attorney. I'm trying to run this down again. As another attorney. This was supposed to be in addition to Brad. So they agreed to bring Mary on, meet Mary. Dana likes Mary, blah, blah, blah. Moving forward, Dana sends all information to Brad and Mary, CCing each other, blah, blah, blah. And then months down the road, Mary says, Brad's been picked up by your old boss at the airline. Okay? Does it make sense now? The attorneys were working on contingency, okay? So when Dana went to Brad, Dana was like, listen, I can't afford to pay a big lawyer fee. I'm unemployed. So Brad said, listen, you got a really good case. We'll take this on contingency. No problem. So it was on contingency where the attorneys would get paid at the, whatever. Anyways, so Dana ended up signing the paperwork because Dana's attorney told her that it would actually be in their favor for them to allow Brad to work with the other attorney. Does that make sense? No, it was only afterwards where Dana started seeing that they were actually working together, that the two attorneys were working together, basically. That they had probably from jump went into it like, hey, I'll represent her, you represent them, we'll settle for blah, 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 whatever, and we'll save each other. Same. I would rather represent myself and risk going to prison than have a lawyer that is representing the alleged murder of my child. Which the parents are not going to want to keep Ann Taylor on as an attorney, which even if they wanted to, she's already recused herself from their attorney. So that's what happened. Brad went on to represent the airline. Dana was represented by Mary, but it seemed like there was some shadiness going on. And Dana told me that she felt like her attorney, Mary, kind of misled her, like steered her in the wrong direction, telling her, like, oh, this will be a great idea, So, I would have made a dash to the board count on that. Please tell me she went to the bar. Okay, Nikki Lynn says this is more common than people know. Brad would have to disclose that to the company that there is a possible conflict. Yeah, everybody has an opinion. Let's be respectful in the chat. Sorry, guys. Sounds super shady. Nick Lynn, what do you got? What do you think? Do you think it's shady? I thought it was shady. When Dana told me, I was like, that is like shady palm trees over here. I would meet up with Ann Taylor one good time, and I won't say the rest because I would not be nice to her. I know this is her job, but it is hard to wrap your mind around she is only doing her. It is really hard to wrap your mind around the fact that she is, that she's doing her job. I just don't know how I could defend anybody that has been accused of such heinous crimes. I mean, I can defend somebody like Dana, like myself, but somebody that's been accused of killing someone, I would have a really tough time with it. Nick Lynn says shady. Okay. But it's not unethical if she signed. Do you feel like it's unethical for her attorney to, knowing that her client is like the most, um, has no knowledge of law or anything like that? Do you think the fact that her attorney basically told her that this was the smartest idea to do this? What's up with the attorney? Hey, crazy mama Nana. So Bryan Kohberger's attorney, his public defender, she actually was the attorney for two of the victims' parents. So we don't know which victims, but the Idaho Four, there was four victims. Two of those victims had Ann Taylor as their attorney. Ann Taylor basically recused herself as their attorney when she took on Bryan Kohberger. Dana can reach out to the ABA. Hello, I already read that one. The ABA, Bar Association. You'd want her for you if you were accused of killing someone. Conflict of interest. And doing it for much smaller pay. Public defenders don't get the big bucks. Prosecution does. I think Mary was in the wrong in your story. Yeah, I feel like Mary and Brad were in the wrong. I heard that Ann is really good. It sounds like Ann is a really good public defender. Couldn't Dana sue Mary? It's not black and white, unfortunately. They're defense lawyers. It's literally their job. That's true. Um, for misleading, yeah, that's what I feel like. I'd sue the attorney. Yeah, that at the end of the day, I'm like, well, you signed. And she's like, yeah, but my lawyer, who I thought had my best interest in mind, told me to. If Brad and Mary worked in the same law firm, they cannot represent both parties. I don't think they did, but they were friends. Wasn't Maddie's stepmom incarcerated at one time? I don't think they were in that area, though. I'm not sure. I would not want to represent someone that committed a crime. That's messed up. She should back off Ron if she was already representing the parents. Yes, she was already representing the parents. Elle Bee, Dana needs to sue both attorneys ASAP. That's what I said. It was looked into, but Dana looked into going to the bar. Dana looked into possibly filing a lawsuit. And at the end of the day, I think Dana just kind of gave up and felt like she got screwed. You know. Yeah, whether we like it or not, everyone deserves an attorney. That's what Emily D. Baker tells us. Everyone, and it's true. I mean, because just think of it like this: say Bryan Kohberger is innocent. I mean, everybody deserves an attorney. I would still write a letter to the bar. When you met a lawyer to represent you, they asked personal questions. I know when I met with mine, they did. I mean, everything about what happened that night. Did Dana at least get some money? Yes, Dana got some money. I don't think Dana got as much as Dana deserved to get, but Dana got some money. I will tell you this: that Dana's attorney got just as much as Dana got. Basically, did you just make that up, or was that is a real story, Brandy? That is 1,000% a real story. The only thing that I made up was the names and the job because I know this person and I don't want to get this person in trouble, telling their story. Yeah, prosecutor is the one that gets them locked up. I live in North Idaho and it's small. I have to travel to Washington sometimes for doctor's appointments. Sounds like where we live. We have to travel to the city for appointments. If I lived in that state, I would be questioning the legality, or is this what caused problems, the case against him? If he is found guilty, could they use this for a mistrial? maybe. That's my concern. If he is found guilty, could this be grounds for mistrial? Anyways, you guys, we're at an hour long. I thought this was interesting information. And because I know a friend, Dana, that had this happen to her, and we all felt like it was not fair and it was definitely a conflict of interest, I wanted to talk to you guys about it. Also, several attorneys, someone from the bar, speaking on this, basically saying no one will give a clear answer of yes, this is a conflict of interest, or no, it's not a conflict of interest. Nobody giving us a dead set answer. Some refusing to give an answer, just saying, go by your state laws, like make sure you're a good judge yourself and speak to other attorneys about it. To me, it's like if you got to do all that, then maybe it's muddy waters and you don't want to go in there because you're not wearing your rubber boots. You know what I'm saying? You want to protect yourself. You want to protect yourself so this does not interfere with the trial or interfere with anything because this case is too important. Like we don't want to get halfway through this or at the end of this and something happened because there was a conflict of interest. So hopefully the prosecution, I'm sure they know about this. Hopefully they're doing everything they can to make sure um, that everything is ethical. It is, yeah, it's so hard to determine conflict of interest. Yeah, I feel like, but I'm like, she represented the parents of two of the victims. So when it comes time for an attorney to go speak with these people to establish whether or not, to try to talk them out of the death penalty, she's going to have to do that or she's going to have to get someone to do it on her behalf. Good night, Southern Charmer. Um, I mean, she had a relationship with them. She once fought for them. So I don't know. I just feel like it's a conflict of interest. It's gray. Nick Lynn says it's gray. I think it is. But she did like recuse herself. I mean, do lawyers use that word when they remove themselves as the attorney? I know like a judge will say that. Like a judge will recuse themselves. But is that the same term they use for lawyers when a lawyer removes themselves as your public defender and you're assigned to someone else? Nicholas says it's going to cause problems if he is found guilty. They will ask for a mistrial. Katie said, at Nick, I just had this conversation today with an attorney I work with. They cannot even sub in on a case where they rep a parent in the past. I work for a national child advocate organization. Amanda says she wants her fame from the media this case is getting and what's to come. I think it's sick. Well, I think it's telling that like on the day that he was doing court, she was signing to like recuse herself from their public defender because she wanted to make sure she got him. I feel like if I know that person is guilty, why yes, I'll be the prosecutor. If I suspect that person is innocent, I would not be the prosecutor, no matter how much money I would get paid. At Katie, I worked as a paralegal for 5 years. Um, I don't think Mama of Three Boys. I don't think drug trafficking was the charge, but I do think, I don't want to comment on something like that. I don't know really, and I'm sure it will be solved way before it gets to the point of mistrial. I think he can say he didn't get proper legal if he loses. I'm surprised a bunch of lawyers will be trying to represent Brian for publicity. Hey, I mean, Casey Anthony, look at all I mean, I swear, lawyers hop to this because it's a chance for them to prove themselves, and they get the spotlight. I mean, Jose Baez was what they call like a new attorney. Um, a new attorney, and it shot him into the spotlight. Everybody wanted an interview with Jose Baez after Casey Anthony. Johnny Cochran wasn't new, but Rob Kardashian, Johnny Cochran, they weren't new, but it definitely like skyrocketed them into the spotlight. But anyways, you guys, you leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. I thought this was interesting to say the least. My personal opinion is I don't want anything to happen that could be could affect the trial, that could cause for mistrial or anything like that. So I personally think that she should recuse herself from this and allow someone else to come in that has nothing to do with any of the victims' families that have never represented any of them. I think that would be the best bet, in my opinion. Have you heard about this lady Kim talking about that house being a drug house, and this has to do with drugs possibly? Yes, mama of three boys, and um, I don't like that. I don't think there's any, um, I don't think there's any evidence that leads to that. If evidence comes out, then that'll be discussed. But these are for college kids that more than likely smoked a little pot. Who didn't? Besides me, I wasn't a pot smoker. I hated it. I thought it was like dope, dope. You know what I'm saying? I was scared of it. I mean, I tried it a couple times, but I didn't like do it. I know people that like did it. But I think that's like a lot of like normal experience in college, drinking, smoking pot. I do not think that these kids were over there like somebody came in my chat the other day calling it a trap house. And I was like, that's just there's no evidence to base that off of. And I think it's rude. I don't know. What about the coroner being an attorney as well? Yeah, I didn't even know about that. Um, Maybe Emily Baker will address it. I would love to hear what Emily Baker has to say about this. So I'll be waiting for her to do a live stream about this because obviously she'll have way more insight than we will. Wouldn't the judge tell the attorney if it's a conflict of interest? Apparently, they leave it up to the judge to decide whether they think it's a conflict of interest. And from my understanding, if she can get the parents to sign like a waiver saying they're okay with it, then I think she's in the clear. Hey, Katie, it is my legal ethics, of course. There are circumstances that it is allowed. That's why I indicated it's just a gray area. I just don't know. I just don't know what think if BK is guilty or not. This case is so complicated. Some things don't add up. Yeah. Pot is legal in Washington, so they only had to drive a short distance to get it. Yeah, people need to look up trap houses and those that live in them. Comparing that to a trap house. You see, the only thing I know of trap houses is like run-down shacks, that like people's outside like slanging. I used to have to go chase when I worked as a in the finance company. When people didn't pay their bills, I would have to go to their house, and I had to go to a few trap houses, and I passed several trap houses, and it was a little intimidating. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, definitely not. There may have been some drugs going on. There was a lot of people in and out, but definitely wasn't a trap house. And I don't think, yeah, plywood over the windows, exactly. I definitely don't think any of the victims were like heavy into drugs. Maybe smoking a little pot, drinking from time to time. But I think to say anything else would just be like kind of rude to their character. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's the way that I feel. Like if this is my child, and I got on a live stream and they were saying that she lived at a trap house and they were dealing drugs. I'm like, oh my god, is it not enough that my child is dead? Now you guys are like saying that she was like some sort of drug dealer. Can we wait to see if anything is going to come out to say that? All apology says I have some experience with trap houses, and it is laughable to say that this was a trap house. It's a typical college student household. Yeah, any house can be a trap house / drug den. Okay, you guys, leave me your thoughts in the comment section below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. I'm working on editing a video about Chelsea Huska. This is reality TV, so it's going to be over on the Bash Chat. So Chelsea Huska, her new reality show, Down Home Fab, with her fabulous husband, Cole. It premiered the other day, and we're going to be talking about the ratings, how the ratings for Down Home Fab, Down Home Fab, surpassed the Teen Mom ratings. So we're going to be talking about that over on the Bash Chat. Well, I pre-recorded the video Friday, and I still have not gotten to edit it. So I'm going to work on editing it, getting it up. That channel is still not monetized. We are about 2,500 watch hours away from being monetized. But I really do want to start doing all that content over there. And this channel, strictly true crime. I was saying that it was going to be about a month. And then I think I said like 3 weeks. And that was like last week. So I really want to get that channel up and running. So all my reality TV, true crime can be here. Reality TV, trending topics, celebrity news and gossip, all that over there in this strictly true crime. So please do me a huge favor. Go subscribe to the Bash Chat. The link is in the description box below. It'll be the first link that you see once you hit that drop down arrow to view the description. And Teen Mom, Sister Wives, 90 Day Fiance, anything about celebrities, it will be there. This will be strictly true crime. So make sure you are subscribed to this channel if you enjoy true crime, that channel if you enjoy reality TV, both if you enjoy both. Leave me your thoughts. In the meantime, if you have free time, go watch. I actually uploaded a video about Amber Portwood getting fired. I think it was like Saturday morning. If you haven't watched it, please go watch it. I'll be uploading the Chelsea Huska video sometime tonight. I have to edit it, and then we'll be back here tomorrow to talk about more. So you guys make sure you hit that thumbs up button because it's super important. It's letting YouTube know, hey, I like your content. I like her style of how she puts out her content. And yeah, they will put me in the algorithm a little bit more, and we can use that definitely. So give this video a thumbs up, let me your thoughts, and subscribe to the channels, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye, everyone.